Welcome to Overcome Yourself, the podcast, where we rewrite stories, shift mindsets, and make dreams come true. I'm your host, Nicole. Let's get into today's episode. Hello there, and welcome back to the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. As you know, my name is Nicole, and I'm very excited to be here today with Gina. Now, Gina is, it's not scary, I promise, an end of life doula. And
Yeah.
she's going to be talking to us today about, I don't know, let's find out. So, Gina, please go ahead and introduce yourself. And she's going to be talking to us about her journey. Um, go ahead, like I said, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and who you help.
Well, thanks, Nicole. It's good to be here, and to all your listeners. Yes, my name is Gina Economopoulos, and yes, today I am an end-of-life doula certified, which means that I am present to the dying. My service is to help those to transition from this life to the next and to be with their family. It wasn't something that I thought I would be or do 30 years ago. And I'm grateful to God because he put it in my heart, the seed 30 years ago. He did. He actually really put the seed of being present to the dying and helping them, whether it's prayer, whether it's holding their hands, not saying a word, maybe reading to them, whatever they want as they exit out, whatever the family wants as they're, during this challenging and difficult time for all, and even the world, because, death doesn't, nobody talks about it, dying, nobody wants to hear about it, and it's fear, and which is healthy. There is healthy, so I try to bring a peaceful presence to those that call upon me to be there to give them that peaceful ending, transition, like I said, from this life to the next, to a peaceful place. So
Yes, and that's beautiful. As someone who's lost two moms, um, I know, and and then I lost my mom, and then my great grandma raised me, but then she passed away because she was older. Then my stepmom passed away, and so death has been unfortunately present in my whole life. And
yeah.
I've had to deal with a lot of those transitions, and so I know that it's a lot. There's just a lot of emotions. There's the joy of having known someone, the fear of losing them, of not hearing their voice, of all those things. But also learning to carry on,
Mhm.
in them, and that they carry on in you, right? Like my mom I am her legacy. And so I carry her with me. And so learning also the confusion, can I be happy after something like this happened to me? So there's a lot that is involved in this, not just for the person passing away, but for the people that they leave behind. But before we get
Yes.
into that, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you overcame yourself to become such an important part
Mhm.
of so many people's lives?
Yes, it started 33 years ago. I was at the presence of my mom's death. She was diagnosed with cancer, 5 months to live, terminally ill, 23 years old. What is death? What is life? Where is she going? And she's leaving me. Those are those thoughts.
Mhm.
So I did everything I could in my power to keep her alive. No, I need you. I need you for another 10, 15.
Mhm.
I need you. And but when she died, which the doctors were correct at this time, and I literally died. I did not have any faith, any hope, no life. There was not a God in my life. I was raised Catholic. Was I practicing at the time? No, because at 23, who needs God? Who needs Jesus? Who needs the church? And that was my motto. So when this happened in my life with my mom passing, yes, I went back to God. I'm like, yeah, pray for healing. And when he didn't do it, I was very upset with him. I went back to church to find out who this God person is because everyone said my mom's in heaven and that she's with God, because she was a very devout Catholic. And I'm like, who's God? So I went back to the Catholic Church to search. I went to the church, God, who are you? And then in that, I came to know who God was. I had what we call like a conversion or like, yeah, I love Jesus, like a moment of clarity. And it's like, I know where heaven is. Bob, you're at peace and everything. And in that, I went to join the convent. I became a Catholic nun. I was a Catholic nun for 12 years. And during that time, now having a faith and a hope in God in my life, during that time, I don't want to say for some reason, God brought many people in my life that were dying, called me to bedsides to many people I did not know, young, old, whoever they were, could have been a neighbor's friends. They would say, Sister, can you go and pray? And it was a joy. It was like, okay, because they're going to see God. Like my faith is telling me they're going to a better place. My faith is telling me that they're going to see my mom before I do. This was my faith. I'm like, yeah, and it still is. And so I continue my sister journey, but then, of course, that was a journey in itself. I endured a lot of mistreatment and suffering, and I got kicked out. So I continue my journey of purpose of life. I'm 42 years old. I mean, and as a sister, I lived a very austere life, and we did a lot of service. That my heart was full of service, helping people wherever they may be, the elderly, the dying, the gangs, and all that, which was a joy. But then when I got kicked out, I was in such a dark place again. And I couldn't, I questioned myself, I questioned life, I questioned God, saying, God, you called me, I was married to you, and now you're divorcing me, you're getting rid of me. Like I couldn't understand. But the sisters, in hindsight, and they're dysfunctional, whatever it may be, they had their own issues, and I just wasn't gelling with them. So I continue my journey. And as I continue my journey, I had to really learn how to live life again in society because I wore full habit. Like I said, was an austere life. So I went to live with men and women with disabilities, which they brought me back to life because they just loved me unconditionally. And then after that, I went back to bartending because I was tired of service. And then so here my life keeps going, it's opening up new doors and everything like that. And here I'm bartending and I meet a guy named Danny. Comes to find out he's an alcoholic. And then in that, about 2 years later in our relationship, a month before our wedding day, I found him dead from the disease. So another grief, another loss. But at this point, I was not that I didn't believe, but I just hated God because of the way my life came up to that point. I was just like, I was just simply existing. I wanted to die. I wasn't even thinking of being with people who were dying. I was like, where are people by my deathbed right now? Because I was dying on the inside. I was, um, so like another journey of pain and suffering that I just kept persevering. And then I ended up coming into the rooms of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a fellowship for men and women with problems, drinking problems. I wasn't a problem. Danny was the one who died, but yet once again, curiosity. What's going on? What's this? Now I'm in my mid 40s. I really have nothing in life, and then I come to find out that I'm an alcoholic. So I have 10 years of sobriety. And now, getting back to my question about being an end of life doula a few years ago, because that seed was always planted of being, the passion of whether being by someone's bedside or praying for someone, going to funerals, going away, just being present because I've been there. I've been there. Grieving, I've been there. I've been there. Grief is my best friend. And then but then through like about a few years ago, somebody said to me, do you know you could be an end of life doula? I was like, what is that? I never heard of the concept, never heard of it. I was like, you mean you could get paid? You could serve, really make it like a business or a service? I don't like the word business because it's not a business, but like a service to people. And they're like, yeah. So I went through the proper channels to get certified, which I kind of knew everything. I was very
Mm-hmm.
comfortable when they talked about it and everything. So it's been about a few years that I have it on paper. 'Cause I'm a certified end of life doula, and and once again, I put out my service out there for those that would like my service. Not everybody wants my service because they do have hospice. I'm not part of hospice. It's like an extra means of somebody, like I said, maybe being there when they're not there or whatever it may be, and and I just leave it in God's hands because God puts me at places where I'm supposed to be and helping them to giving them that peace or comfort, whatever I can, whatever I can to help them. Because, like I said, when it came into my heart, it was when my mom died, and I didn't have any faith, no hope, no love, and it was hell. To me, that's hell on earth for me. I experienced that.
Mhm.
Now, fast forward, it's like a joy. It's like, okay, I know where you're going. They not that they may know, some have their faith, some are devout, some are not devout, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter to me because I know in my heart that they're going to a better place, because I know in my heart that I look at it saying, well, God, you have me at this gentleman's bedside, and granted, he may not believe in you, but you have me here for some reason, and I believe in your mercy and love that he's going to a better place, or I'm praying, whatever it may be. So that's where I am today, to offer my service. And whether I'm there present or if I know someone, I put myself in a prayer mode and I place myself there, like being an intercessor from earth to heaven or to Havana, or whatever you want to call it. But I do respect everyone's religion, faith, and however, I don't there to change them, or I'm just there to let them know that there's a peaceful place. And then for grief, like you were saying, that's a whole new ball game. When the ones that are left behind that have to go through the first, the first this, the first that. And even then, some of them may not have a faith or anything, but if whatever I could do to be present, not to say a word, that's the best thing
Mhm.
when I go to a wake or a funeral, you don't say a word, you give them a hug, and that's it. There's nothing to
Mhm.
say. There's no words. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you lost your mother who was like 95 years old, or you maybe lost a child. I mean, it's all tragic, it's all grief. And to be honest, grief sucks, but yet, there are people there that help each other out, just being present. And God
Mhm.
has put me in that kind of role to just to be present to those who are dying and their families.
Yeah. And it's important that we let ourselves experience grief because it's not just necessarily when someone passes, right? We also have to mourn maybe pieces of ourselves that are no more, or eras of ourselves where we imagine that we were going to do, like I was going to be a rock star, and then you're like, wait a second, that's not going to happen. And then you have to mourn that, right? And you have to give yourself the space and the time, because grief comes in a lot of can come in a lot of different ways. And so when we lose someone, it's very in your face, like that, it's a very strong. But what if, like, when I woke up and my back was not cooperating and then my legs didn't work? How do you grieve that? Or how do you grieve if your business is gone? And so, like, in knowing grief, do you have any advice for us as we navigate all these different chapters and all these different areas of grief?
And you're correct, Nicole, because grief comes in all size, shapes, and it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are,
Mhm.
what you are. It doesn't, you could be the richest person, the youngest person, no matter. Ultimately, of course, death is that grief. But yes, throughout, like for myself, I had a grief that I got kicked out of the sisters, my
Mhm.
life. Some people grieve for marriages. And then, of course, I had to grieve later on that I can't drink anymore. I had to grieve for
Mhm.
who was my best friend. Um, and and the best thing I have learned, and which it took me a long time to learn this, and it had to do through pain and sufferings, that it's okay to feel that. It's okay to wake up and say, you know what? I feel like crap. It's okay to say, hey, I'm angry. I'm angry. I feel it. I am angry. It and that's what it took me a long time, because sometimes we don't want to have those kind of feelings. And in my situation, or as being an alcoholic, that's I would erase those feelings by running to a bottle, you know. But then
Mhm.
when I had to put that bottle down and put the cork, the cork in the jug, they say I had to learn. Oh my God, I gotta feel, and I can't go numb
Mhm.
it. And it could be alcohol, it could be shopping, it could be any, that too comes in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't mean,
Mhm.
a drug or an alcohol, whatever. It could be anything, anything that takes you away. Because I believe that, there are situations that God allows in our life to help us to feel so we can grow. We could,
Mhm.
and then also we could identify with other people that may go through it later on. And you
Yeah.
and you, I mean, of course, you're not there to solve the person's feelings. You're not there to take away their feelings, because I've learned it is really a gift to be able to feel, to be human, to be human,
Mhm.
and like, yeah, and then know that this too shall pass, and know that I could breathe, and that's another technique. It's like, yes, breathe, yes, you can. You don't have to jump over, you don't have to run this way, because
Mhm.
in any kind of grief, they have those 5 stages of grief, which could apply to anything, not only death. But you don't have to do things in order, from my personal experience. Just from my personal experience, I have gotten in touch with God in me, and I allow Him to help me feel. And sometimes, I realize, well, he's feeling the same way. He's feeling sad. If the Christians, if they read the scriptures, Jesus cried. Why not cry? Tears are my best friend. Tears are healing. I love crying, no matter what, no matter what you do. But yes, people have losses daily, and we don't really. Getting older, the loss.
Mhm.
Losing your health, like you said, even at a young age or an old age. I can't do, and people deal with it different. They come to accept it.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, I'm
Think
not
of
that
how many
person.
transitions, like when we turn into a teenager, we have to mourn a childhood. Like you're like,
Yeah.
damn, there's no more Saturday morning cartoons. There's no more like,
Yeah.
like nuggies cut up for me with the sauce. Like I gotta go make my own lunch, right? And then in your 20s, you're like, oh, you're mourning your teens. And you're like, oh, I had so much freedom and now I gotta work. And then in your 30s, you were like, oh, I was so energized and now I'm so tired. In your 40s, you were like,
Yeah.
I wasn't tired, now I'm tired, right? And so we look
Yeah.
back and we have to mourn each one of those periods, but then also be able, like the lesson to learn is, oh, let me enjoy it while I'm there, so I don't look back
Yeah.
and say, oh, I had so much energy and I had so much this and I had so many friends and I had this. What if you were just in that moment and you were enjoying it and you can look back and be like, oh, that was great,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I think
Exactly. And to me, that, I'm sorry to interrupt, Nicole, but
no,
but
not
to
at
me,
all.
that's like a journey. That's like it's your own we each, I always say, we have a personal story. God has a story for each one of us, and it unfolds each day. And if we could learn to be present
Yes.
today and acknowledge our feelings, to acknowledge that pain. Because sometimes, as you know, there are days where out of the blue, a trigger could come in my heart from a pain that I had 10 years ago. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not there. It's not there anymore, but it's here today.
Yes.
I invite you, God, into it, or I feel it. I feel it. What do I
Mhm.
do? Maybe go reach out to a friend, maybe for me, maybe go to a meeting, or go to speak at a group, or do something, read something, do journaling it out. Like, this is how I feel today. And then, in hindsight, like when you journal that out, the next day you look back, you're like, oh, I really feel that way. Because your feelings change constantly. It's all
Mhm.
about, our life
Or
changes. It's all about change.
Or create art. You don't even have to put words to it. You could take out some crayons or
Yes.
some paint, and then you could even like toss it, throw it, and just have fun and express yourself,
Yeah.
because that's where art comes from, right? It's those the feelings. And so take
Yeah.
advantage of that, and see, you never know, you might have like a bunch, like when you're feeling good, go buy some canvases, and when you start getting kind of annoyed, you're like, you know what? I'm feeling purple, I'm feeling blue, I'm feeling red. And then you never know, you can make a work of art and sell it for millions of dollars one day.
Exactly. You could do anything you want to get those feelings out. And you know what's good for you. Some may do this, some may do that, and they're like, well, no, I'll try this and I'll try that. But what I keep encouraging is like, it's okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Yes.
It's
And
okay to,
reminding yourself, because I know, me being neurodivergent, I can be time blind. And when you're in it, when you're feeling the feeling, in your mind is lying to you. It's like, this is going to be your life for the rest of eternity. And you have to remind yourself, this is going to pass. This too
yeah,
shall pass, right?
yeah,
Like right now, it sucks and it hurts and it feels terrible. And I want to drown it out. But no, the only way to get it to not come back, or not come back as strong, is to go through it. And
yeah,
then you get to the other side and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like, okay, I'm
yeah,
good. I'm healed.
yeah.
I amended, and now I can move on. Why did it take me so long to do that?
E- Exactly. I totally agree with you because, and that's why, like you said earlier, it could be a joy in doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like you could say, wow, okay, I'm feeling this. It doesn't feel good. I hate it. But yet, I know, oh, last year I had this feeling and I got through it. So why I'm going to get through it this way. It's an opportunity to grow. It's opportunity to heal. Okay, I may
Mhm.
need more healing in this area. Okay, go for it. I'm not going to die from it. I may lose the moment of, the sadness of not enjoying but then at the same time, it's like you get back on the horse. You're like, okay, God, hey, gratitude. I've also learned about
Mhm.
gratitude and everything I've learned, it wasn't overnight. So it was like, okay, take it easy on myself. It's not like I jumped into the fire, so to speak. It was just one day at a time. And
Mhm.
gratitude. I hated gratitude. I was like, don't talk about gratitude. What am I grateful for? The sisters kicked me
Mhm.
out. They don't like me. Danny died. What's my life? How can I be grateful? Aha. Now today, but it wasn't overnight, but today, through gratitude and acceptance, okay, yeah, that it was my life. I can't change what happened. I can't
Mhm.
even change the way I felt. Like, the person I am today, I wouldn't have put up that crap 20 years
Mhm.
ago when I was in the convent. But that wasn't me. So I've
Mhm.
learned that every chapter, every path, everything has brought me to the person who I am today. And it continues. It continues. Like, you hear the best version of yourself. This is my best version. This is how my journey came. This is me. This is me today and tomorrow there'll be a better me, God willing, because it's constant growth. And then in that I can able to serve others, help others. Maybe someone's having a difficult and drink an addiction, whatever it may be. That's why I wrote my memoir because it was like it's like a message of hope and strength to spread it. Maybe I could help at least one person through my story, saying, "Hey, if I could do it, anybody could do it."
I love that. Tell us a little bit more about your memoir. And you mentioned that you had a free gift, for my audience. So can you tell us a little bit about that while you're mentioning it?
Yes, I do. My memoir is Shake the Dust Off Your Feet and Walk. It's about faith, sobriety, self-discovery, and healing. It's my personal journey. It was published last year. You can find it on Amazon. But if you go to my website, there's a free chapter. So you could take the taste in the beginning of what my book is all about. You don't have to buy the book at first, but you could taste. And then, of course, there's a contact website. I always offer that to anyone. I don't, doesn't matter who you are, what you are, whatever you need, whether it's a prayer or whatever it may be or something, you could always contact me through my website as well. It's ginaecon.com. So
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And how can we stay in touch with you on social media?
I'm on Facebook, Gina Economopoulos. I'm also on Instagram. This is all new to me, even though it's been a year. I'm still practicing. And as well as, like I said, my website. You could check me out. There are more. There's blogs and other more information about my life and my story. So
Amazing. So be sure to look
thank
out for Gina on social and to check out her website. And all those links are going to be available down below in the show notes. And as we're signing off, can you let us know one final tip for the audience based on what we've talked about today?
Yes, I always say, do not give up. You're not alone. Do not be discouraged. And if nobody told you that they love you today, I do.
Oh, that's sweet. I love it. Thank you so
Thank,
much.
thanks,
And I'll
Nicole.
add, and I'm proud of you.
And I'm proud of you too. Exactly. Thank you
I
so much,
love
and to
it.
all the listeners.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. This has been an incredible episode. And it does sound a little scary when you're talking about death, but I think that it's also very important, and a very transformational talk. And so I think you did a great job of addressing something that can be kind of heavy, but I think we did it in a loving and, hopeful, joyous way because it is something we all have to deal with, and it is
Yeah.
hard, but it's life, right? So thank you for joining us today.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole,
Thank you
again.
guys. Have a great afternoon, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Bye. Thanks again for tuning in to Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Stay bold, stay grateful, and keep becoming your best you. For more information and resources from me, Nicole, head over to nicoletexberry.com/resources. See you next time.